Okay.
We'll call the meeting to order for special legislative session 2024-14 on June 26, 2024 for the Wicomico County Council. Those that would like to stand and join us in the Lord's Prayer and pledge allegiance, please do.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, Ms. Hurley.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Council members, ladies and gentlemen. So today is a special meeting. We have two resolutions before you. We have resolution number 73-2024. This is to institute a temporary ban on any outdoor burning in Wicomico County. And we have Mr. Lorenzo Cropper here if you have any questions.
Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 73, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Anybody need help from Mr. Lorenzo there?
I just have one question.
Okay. Mr. Cropper?
How long is temporary? Like, is it gonna just, do we have to come back and lift the ban? Are you guys gonna tell us, or?
I'm not for sure of the verbiage, but when the work group met earlier this morning, per the National Weather Service, we were looking at in the middle of July for he would even consider, in his opinion, of considering lifting anything.
Okay.
Right now, we're about 3 inches for this month alone. We have a deficit of 3 inches.
Okay.
Mr. Wen, the resolution actually says it would be in place for the duration of the emergency as determined by the county executive.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
So in other words, we can extend it, but the county executive can take it off on her own when the need sees fit. Yeah. Have you, has there been any discussion about water restrictions yet?
No, sir.
Who would determine that if that had to happen?
Probably the health officer, sir.
Pardon me?
The health officer.
The health officer? Okay.
So, I think you're right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cropper. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of resolution 73-2024, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes.
Okay, next is resolution number 75-2024. This is amending the fiscal year 25 operating budget to make a supplemental appropriation from prior year fund balance to pay solid waste operating expenses due to the change of commercial tipping fee rates from $78 a ton to $67 a ton for the period of July 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. And the commercial tipping fee shall be increased to $78 a ton as of July the 1st, 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Hurley. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 75-2024. Second.
Second.
Discussion. I'd like to thank James before we get started, because James is the one that actually called and said, hey, shouldn't we get this on here? Because we had that huge hiccup with what we were going to do on the prices between the first and the second. So this eliminates that small problem.
Appreciate it very much. I had one question.
Okay.
Okay.
Pam Olin, Finance Director.
Yes. Just wanted to get you. But now that we hopefully have got this figured out, is there a way that the executive branch can work on like a step 5-year plan that we can implement or vote on?
There is. I just want to point out that this resolution takes us from a $2.5 million profit to a $2 million loss in this fiscal year. So if we kept it at the 78 for the full year, we're projecting about a $500,000 loss. This changes us from a $500,000 loss to a $2 million loss. And so, as you know, we are supposed to operate this as a business. We are programming ourselves to lose money and lose $2 million. Just want council to be aware of the implications of this budget amendment. This is not using fund balance to, build the next cell. It is literally using fund balance to keep the cells that we have open.
Thank you for letting us.
And I think that's, we recognize the importance of that. And I think really the only problem with it is that we put ourselves in a bind by not giving proper notice. No businesses at all should be given a 100% increase, not 100%, but close to that, and be expected to maintain out of the clear blue. So I think what we're doing is beneficial to the businesses of Wicomico County, and the government is going to have to try to work it out until January 26th.
And we are a business in this
25.
realm.
Is there a way?
I understand, but the process.
Right.
The process could have avoided the problems, I think.
It was a mistake on everyone's part, and I'm glad we're all working together to get it fixed. And I would just like to ask that if we could get a 5-year plan of some sort, and I know that you can do that, and you're going to work on
Ultimately,
that, but
I mean, I will say based on current projections, our break-even point, so that we don't have a loss, is $84.
okay, so we could expect not in December, but I'm just saying a year from now or a year and a half from now.
It will
that goes
be
to
a
80.
projection because nothing can bind us past the current budget year,
Right.
but we can give a projection. As we've stated that we found out, I believe Sussex County charges $107 a ton. At 67 for the next 6 months, we are still the cheapest. At $78 a ton, we are still the cheapest.
Right.
Just, I want council to be aware of the financial implications of the decision that is being made today.
Yeah, we're fully aware.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I mean, I'm okay with stepping it up so that we're not like hemorrhaging money. So as long as we have like a plan to move it up to where we need to be, so we're with everyone else. So
I would, of course,
Yes.
I would just add on that. I think Mr. Wynn's completely right there. I think that is somewhere where we should be going. Obviously, doesn't help the situation in hand. We don't certainly want the loss, and obviously, this is a business. We're operating it like a business. We don't want to take a loss. But I think to Mr. Wynn's point, obviously, the more that we can have, say, a 4-year plan that we could approve, could come to council and try to, I think that would be helpful. But once again, this doesn't help.
It can't be approved, it can be presented, it can't be approved, because
I'm
we
fine with
can't
that.
obligate
So we-
past the current fiscal year.
I'm just saying something that we can send to our
Yeah.
people that work in the county, something we can say, hey, look, this is what you need to expect in year 2, year 3.
Prepare for this.
Yeah, get yourself ready for it.
Pam, what's our break-even point again?
$84.
So I understand the theory with working with businesses. I get that part. But as Pam said, we're operating at a business too. If we're going to extend this until January to the 1st, why are we just moving it up to $78?
I'll be honest, because I was out last week, I don't exactly know how the $78 number came about.
70,
So we're going to give businesses time for the next few months to prepare.
The discussion between council and executive, I was not part of.
Right.
Because of, and so how the $78 came about to be the number that was presented last Tuesday, which is the number that we have here, I can't answer that question. If council would like us to do this, and then look at what $84 would be at December 31st or January 1st, we can do that. I just can't on the fly come up with, again, the budgetary impact from 78 to 84.
The 78, we sent a recommendation for 80 to the executive, and the executive replied with a reduction to 78. So that's where the 78 came from. I can't speak for what the thought process was behind it, but that's how we ended up with
Okay.
78.
Again, I was
Yeah.
out last week, as you know.
Right.
I would
so-
think what we could do if this passes today, that certainly a letter should go out to all the businesses who are working with the landfill to let them know that this is what the rate will be on January 1st, and hopefully the letter will go out between now and January, and with what Mr. Wynn has requested, we could also possibly have a 5-year plan to share with them at the same time.
We can give estimates
Yeah.
for the 5-year plan.
Sure, yeah, that would be a good idea. And if the council needs to pass it, let us know, and we'll certainly put it on the agenda.
But what you're saying, we're behind the 8 ball, even
Yes.
in January.
Yes.
So
Again, if council has a desire, this can pass today.
Right.
It stays $67 come July 1st.
Are-
We have 6 months or less, if we want to do notice, but we have time, that we don't have to go like this on legislation. We could come back
So,
in August with what, because the break-even point that I calculated was break-even on 2023 results. I could come back with a break-even on what it would have been for 2024 and say, this is the number that it would be. Council could have, we could make a decision to amend the budget for January 1st and after.
so can we amend what's in front of us here just to scratch out the where it says, as of January 1st, 2025, tipping fees will be $78? Just leave that blank for
No.
at the moment?
You have to have a dollar amount. Because the $1.5 million that's listed in here is based on 67 and 78.
I like the idea of giving businesses time. They weren't given adequate time. What I don't like is that we're putting it in writing here that January the 1st, it's going to go up to a dollar amount that we're still behind the 8 ball. So we're giving them time to prepare. We're going to get to January 1st.
Is it council's request that we come back to you with a break-even number in end of July, beginning of August?
I'm fine with that.
What if we were to, since this is supposed to be a business, look at it from a business perspective when your expenses outweigh your income and look and see how we can bring that 84 down to 78, work it from the other way.
So the other issue is that to accomplish that, we would have to no longer be building additional cells. So the cost of building, we could get out of the landfill business, which then we have a problem of where do we take Wicomico County trash, and that then becomes a cost on the government, on the general fund, not having it set up as an enterprise fund. So the cost of building additional cells is the piece that we're trying to put away money for, so that we're creating the future for cells instead of having to borrow money for a cell that could take 3 to 5 years to fill and borrowing it at a 10, 15, 20-year life. We would like to have the money in the bank to be able to build the cell. That's why you put away a profit in a solid waste division, so that you have funding to be able to build the future cells that you need. We don't have that funding. The next cell could cost anywhere from $10 to $20 million. As we stated, we have a $6 million fund balance. We're going to take an additional $1.5 million out of that with this. So the economics of creating funding available to build cells requires us to have a profit.
I believe I heard the formula is each dollar the tipping fee goes up equals 100,000 in revenue.
I don't know where that, I don't know. I don't have that answer at this moment.
So
A little bit of a backstory. Back when the recession happened, the county government borrowed money from the landfill to balance its budget. It was that flush with money back then, so.
Any other discussion?
May I ask, is it the council's will for that second step or not?
I don't think we've already publicly stated that this is what we're planning to do, and we've shared that with the public as a whole and the individual companies. I don't think we're going to reverse now at this stage.
I think it would be up to the executive's office to set up the plan and to come to the council with what they want to do. I mean, we're legislative, you know, I mean, we can express, I think each council member can express their opinion.
Well,
It's
again,
ultimately
but
up to the county
it is
executive.
ultimately the council's ability to place it on the agenda. If we're going to spend time creating something, would it get on an agenda?
We 99% of the time, we put anything you request on the agenda, provided we have the proper backup materials.
So we know in the future, we're going to spend millions of dollars on the landfill.
Yes.
We know it's in trouble. Looking at this and what you just said, we're going to move it up in January the 1st and still not even be breaking even.
That's the idea.
I mean,
that's what we recognized at the last meeting. That's what we recognized, that this was going to be a lost measure.
Weren't you on?
Yes, and I stated that as well.
Because if we were to change it anyway, we would have to get a reevaluation of the amount of funds that we're going to be transferring to solid waste, and we don't have that. Right now, we got a 1.5 million that we know has been done. They're going to
It's
have
not
to reconfigure
being
the
transferred,
totals.
it's being taken out of the fund balance in solid waste.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, taking out the fund, but yeah, but what I'm saying is that transfer is going to have to be
Yes.
reevaluated.
Yes.
So in effect, we probably have to table it because we don't have the correct figures for the
No,
dollar.
you can do this, as we've done the last two. You can do this one and make another change in July, August, for January.
Well, this is why there was the delay, because Charles told us that they needed time to figure out what the transfer amount was going to be.
Correct. And what I'm saying is do this one, it keeps it at $67 for July 1st. And then we can come back and come with a different number, break-even number at least, maybe, for January 1.
I think it looks terrible. It's in here and we're passing it, saying January 1st, it's going to be this. And
I cannot, on the fly.
no, I'm not faulting you. I'm just saying
So-
this shouldn't be. That's all I'm saying.
It's certainly not ideal, but I don't know that we have a whole lot of options. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're giving our businesses enough time to be thoughtful about it and to make sure that they're putting the right plans in place and communicating that to their customers. I think either way, we're between a rock and a hard place. But I think this makes sense for passing for now. But once again, to Mr. Wynn's point, I think let's come back at the future and let's have a 4-year projection, at least something that we could say as a council that we generally believe in is a good idea, that is a schedule that could then give more understanding to the businesses. And that way we all know that what path we're walking together.
The comments. All those in favor of Resolution 75-2024, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes. Thank you, Ms. Sullivan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sullivan.
That's all I have, Mr.
Thank you, Ms. Rowley. This time we open the floor for public comments. If you have any comments you'd like to make, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. Good afternoon, Mr. Funk.
Good afternoon. Tom Funk, Wicomico County. My name is Tom Funk. I'm the co-chair of the collective bargaining unit for the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office. I'm speaking to you today to ask you one of two things. Please table tonight's vote, or please do not accept the collective bargaining unit proposal in front of you. In May, this council was the first council in the history of the county to vote against a collective bargaining agreement as presented to them by the county executive and the sheriff's deputies. As you know, this agreement was supported by the sheriff's deputies, the county executive, and Sheriff Mike Lewis. You as a council failed to take the recommendation of Sheriff Lewis, the expert financial opinion of the county director of finance, and unanimously voted against the deputies. This decision forced the deputies to file for impasse arbitration as directed by the county charter. Despite the utter disappointment the deputies felt over the council vote, the only legal and logical course of action was to file for arbitration. This unforeseen burden by the council's vote on May 21st and the subsequent impasse process has caused the deputies to incur thousands of dollars in legal fees, uncertainty, and stress. This process has also cost the taxpayer, which includes your deputies, most of which live and pay taxes in this county, thousands of dollars in unnecessary legal fees paid to the county's outside labor attorney, the county council's attorney, the arbitrator fees, and over $7,000 solely for an actuary study to supplement the existing pension study. The public should know that this contract, as proposed, was extremely reasonable. The deputies hesitantly accepted roughly a 1% raise in order to receive an increased retirement benefit. This benefit was also extremely reasonable, as the benefit would still be far inferior to the benefits of the statewide LEOP system, which is enjoyed by nearly every other surrounding agency. Additionally, deputies agreed to almost wholly fund the retirement benefit through agreeing to increase their own pension contributions to a greater contribution rate than that of the state LEOP system. In short, deputies agreed to pay more for less, and also agreed to a salary increase less than the 4% we now know every other county employee is receiving. Despite the reasonable sacrifices the deputies made in this proposal, the council still elected to reject the proposed contract. The deputies are now asking for this council to take appropriate action by tabling this vote or rejecting the proposal and allowing this matter to proceed to a third-party arbitrator for a decision as outlined by the county charter. Due to the cost, uncertainties, and anxiety this process has caused, the CBU feels this is the only appropriate course of action. It is also the position of the CBU that this is the only legally sound decision the council can make, as it is the position of the CBU the council no longer has standing to vote on the matter, as the CBU has already filed for impasse, and both the county executive's office and the CBU have submitted final position statements to the arbitrator. In closing, I will again respectfully request you honor the recommendation of the deputies and the legal process as outlined by the county charter and allow this matter to be decided by the arbitrator, which will ensure the deputies in the county do not face the potential for an extended legal battle in court. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments? Seeing none, council comments.
So, Tom, you want us to table this vote tonight? I mean, obviously, I heard that, I know that the resolution was voted down before, and I understand that you guys have incurred legal expenses, but I guess I'm just trying to think, I know, is it cost beneficial for us to continue to go through, I don't know if I should even have this conversation, but right now, but like, is it cost beneficial for us to, if we have to go through arbitration, is there something that we can do to meet in the middle so that we can maybe get this all settled today? I don't know. I don't see your lawyer here, so I don't know if that's I don't think we can even go.
Yes, and that'll be covered in closed session.
Yeah, and that's a question I'd love to be able to have a conversation with you guys about, but I'm just trying to think how we can, not go to court and spend more money. That's my question, and I hate court fees. That's
You know we have a lawyer sitting right there.
yeah.
No offense.
I'd comment, John.
Shane? Shane?
I've not heard one person on this council say that they did not want the deputies to have a COLA. Not one. I want you guys to have a COLA. What we wanted to make sure that it was affordable. We asked for an actuary through CBIZ, not the finance office, through CBIZ, who's an actuarialist. We received it yesterday at, does anybody have the time? 3:40 in preparation of today, which that's not too abnormal. That goes on constantly, last minute. Nobody up here doesn't want you guys to have a COLA. Nobody up here doesn't want you guys to have raises. But we have to be good stewards of the county's money. All we were trying to do was see some numbers. That's what we asked for. That's all we asked for.
Comments? Jeff?
Joe, you want to go?
I really don't have a lot to add to that, other than if this had all been done in a timely manner like it should have been, we'd have had all this behind us a long time ago. So how late was it that the
4 weeks.
4 weeks late? So
4 weeks.
anyway,
Okay, so this is a little complicated here.
Josh, go ahead.
I'll just say I agree with Mr. Baker. I think, obviously, our role is simply, to be able to make sure that we're being thoughtful on the money. We hold, the legislative branch holds the purse, so we just need to make sure that's thoughtful. The fact that the legislative branch wasn't invited in the conversation for a good period of time, which is very different than how things used to be, I think that's noteworthy. From here on out, I hope it's understood by the FOP and all parties involved that all of us need to be sitting down together well ahead of time and thoughtfully thinking through where we want to go and how do we get there together. That seems to be a recurring theme again and again, but I want to be very clear about that. we all, every single one of us up here feels very strongly about making sure that we're being thoughtful, for all the employees of the county and where we're going and all future investments that we're making. And we don't do that lightly. And certainly it's not a good look for us to be kind of forced into a corner and to make decisions on things that, that have really great impact. And we have very little information understanding. I know that's not the intent, but as a whole, that's where we want to be. So.
I have one more thing, too. This councilman asked the executive numerous times, talk to us about the budget, let us know what your plans are, let us know what to expect so we can start planning. The response I got, you'll get the budget when you get it.
And obviously, we can't do anything to change the past, but all we can do is from here on out, making sure that we're all aware that we all care enough, we all want to get together where we want to go, but we need to make sure that we're all listening and learning from each other. And that is something that we've done in the past that was very successful. And so I want to get back to the successful ways of doing business.
Any council comments? Jeff?
I just want to give a shout out to our Director of Emergency Services, Lorenzo Cropper, for the invitation to sit in on the burn ban meeting this morning. And Chief Frampton, he was there. Matt, good to be part of that conversation. Yeah, that 3.5 inches of rain that we haven't gotten this month, that's everybody that's not cutting their grass right now, they can attest to that.
Yeah.
I do want to, one of the things we heard this morning was, as we approach the 4th of July holiday, the professional aerial fireworks displays are not a huge concern. What's more of a concern is the ground-based fireworks that you buy at some of the local retailers. So just, the burn ban says that you're not supposed to use those, so please be responsible. You don't want to set your neighbor's field on fire and have Chief Frampton have to come out and put the fire out, and the sheriff's office responding to complaints about neighbors shooting off fireworks and a whole other bunch of stuff. Not to belabor this, but the collective bargaining agreement is being held up because of the COLA. It's that simple. The council has no problem with anything else in the collective bargaining agreement. The longevity, the salaries, nothing else. Problem with the COLA is it's new. It's not been in any of the previous agreements. We had a lot of questions, mostly of financial nature. Like Josh said, we got to watch the money here. So Director of Finance said that she is not an actuarial, so we asked for an actuarial analysis. We're aware that little to no benefits are going to be paid out during the term of this contract, but what we're concerned about is what happens after the contract's expired, when the preservation of benefits takes over and the people that retire get the COLA for the rest of their life. The simple question is, can we afford it? Yes or no? It's not politically motivated. It's not who likes somebody or doesn't like somebody. It's a simple question of, can we afford it? It's like going to the bank and applying for a loan. If you have the application half filled out, they're going to send you back and fill it the rest of the way out. It's been said that we received this document 31 days late. That compounded the problem. And now we got lawyers involved and special legislative sessions. And like Joe said, had we received all this on time, had all of our questions answered, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. So for the record, I do support a COLA, not only for the sheriff's office, but I would love to see us get to a point where all of the county employees can get a COLA. That's a future discussion, but I do support a COLA. We support all of our public safety partners, the fire departments, the sheriff's office. To imply that we don't support public safety, that's just preposterous is the closest word I can come up for that, but it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Just because we don't agree with something doesn't mean we don't support somebody. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Any other council comments? Under presidential comments, Sergeant Funk, we appreciate you being here and the work that you've done. And I would state that, yes, 100%, you are correct. The council has always accepted the collective bargaining agreements. I think this council most likely would have gladly done the same this year. No reason not to. As we've said, we're in favor of a COLA, and the other terms were acceptable. But we did not accept it because our hands were actually tied. Yeah, I understand. I'm not quite sure, but as I understand, I believe even the negotiations that began between the FOP and the executive were delayed, considerably delayed. That being the case, it never came to our doorstep until, as everyone stated here, 4 weeks late, which gave us very little time to even evaluate what was on our desk. We had very little time to do our job, and we had insufficient data to do our job. We had the best intentions. We certainly would have wanted to follow through and not have caused all this controversy. I mean, this creates a lot of headache among the council members as well, not just the public, not just the deputies. This has created a lot of headaches for the council members in trying to evaluate and reevaluate over and over again. But we do have the best intentions. We always have had the best intentions. We know a lot of the deputies, and a lot of the deputies are friends of ours. So we have no interest whatsoever in trying to confuse the matters or be obstructionists or anything like that. We just needed the details. We needed the facts. We got everything at a point in time where it was so late, there was maybe one meeting, maybe two possibly, for us to even evaluate what was happening at that time. So that is, that's our position, as we said before. Normally, we would close this out. I assume that you want to make a comment. We don't normally do a back and forth, but I would like to respect your time and allow you to make a comment.
Thank you, Council President. Lee Stevens, county resident, also co-chair of the CBU committee. Just the reason I'm coming up here, I see a lot of questions directed towards the statement here. I'm going to respond to a couple of things. Mr. Hastings, you stated that you would like to be involved, or the council like to be involved in the negotiations. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's between us and the county executive. That is how it's been for almost 2 decades. Yes, timeline that's been brought up numerous times. I challenge you, past contracts, when the council ratified past contracts, see what the dates those were. Because it's not on time. It never has been. Again, I don't want to take up much more of your time, just you direct it towards us. I'm going to answer some of these questions, or actually some of these points. Not one statement says that accuse any of you not supporting the COLA or being supportive of law enforcement. If I hear that, if I had $1 for every time I heard that from the council, we probably could have paid for some of this, all right? No one accused you of that, all right? I don't know where that's coming from. That's not coming from us, all right? And that's it. You have any questions for me?
No, thanks for the clarification.
All right. Yeah.
At this time, entertain a motion to adjourn from legislation to go into a closed work session pursuant to General Provisions, Article Section 3-305B9, to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to the negotiations to protect the collective bargaining strategy.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will also be reconvening in legislative session following the closed session, just so the public is aware. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Meeting's adjourned. We're now reconvening as the Wicomico County Council in legislative session 2024-14 for June 26, 2026. We will start out with an update on the collective bargaining agreement. Mr. Benson, if you could, please, for the public.
So I know the council is well aware of all this, but for the public's benefit, the voters of Wicomico County authorized collective bargaining in Wicomico County. As part of that authorization, the county charter mandated that the county council adopt a code provision, which is Section 59 of the Wicomico County Code, that details the requirements with regard to how collective bargaining is to be negotiated. Under that provision, the negotiations are to ensue to allow a agreement to be reached on or before April 1st. If an agreement is not reached by April 1st, the council is supposed to be notified. and the council is required to approve or disapprove the collective bargaining agreement by May 1st of the year in which the collective bargaining agreement is negotiated. In this year, the agreement was not reached. The council was not provided with a copy by April 1st. The council recognized that there was a timing problem, and on April 26th, it unilaterally acted to extend the time period in which it had to act, which under the code they could extend to May 15th. There is there's some language in that code section that provides that there can be like a 10-day window after May 15th within which things can be done. On May 2nd, the council was finally provided with a copy of the proposed collective bargaining agreement. The council acted to hold a closed work session to review the collective bargaining agreement on May 7th. During that closed work session, it requested that an actuarial report be done specifically with regard to the provision in the collective bargaining agreement provide a 2.5% cost of living increase to the sheriff's deputies. On May 21st, the council came back in a closed work session and was told that while the actuarial report had been requested, it would not be provided, could not be provided by the May 21st date, or June 21st date rather, but would be provided before the end of the month of June. On May 21st, because it had to act no later than May 25th, the council voted to not approve the collective bargaining agreement. As a result of that, under the code revision, the parties are supposed to, the council is supposed to designate a representative to notify the parties, collect the county executive and the FOP, the reasons for the agreement was not accepted. The county's designated representative provided a written statement that the problem had to do with the 2.5% COLA, and that council felt that it could not approve it without having received an actuarial report. Under the code provision, the FOP has the right, but is not mandated to declare an impasse. The FOP elected to declare an impasse, which means that it moves through an arbitration procedure. And under those provisions, an arbitrator has been selected, and there is arbitration scheduled for July 1st in a few days. I apologize, I've got a cold, so I'm coughing. Thank you for the water. So where we are today is that you've received an actuarial report yesterday at about 3:30. Council has reviewed that in a closed work session, and you're back today. Your options today are, I thought before the session, the options were two, and that was to either agree to the collective bargaining agreement or not agree to the collective bargaining agreement after you've had an opportunity to review the actuarial report. During the prior open work session, during comments, the FOP, and also through a written letter from the FOP's attorney slightly earlier, requested the council table any decision with regard to this. So I guess there are three options presented to the council at this point. They can vote to approve the CBA as presented. They could vote to not approve it, or they could vote to table it. And that's the situation where we find ourselves at this moment.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Mrs. Hurley?
So before you, you have resolution number 74-2024. This is to implement the collective bargaining agreement between Wicomico County, Maryland, the Office of the Sheriff of Wicomico County, and the Wicomico County Fraternal Order of Police Lodge number 111.
Thank you, Ms. Hurley. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 74-2024.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution number 74-2024 passes unanimously. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Meeting's adjourned.